A question that I frequently get is what the main differences between Facebook ads and Google ads are. And in this video, I'm basically going to break that down. I'm also going to talk about which of the two platforms are most likely to be the best for your business. And I'm also going to talk about how you can combine the two in some cases to maximize your return on investment and also avoid your competitors from stealing your customers. Yes, you heard that right. If you're not doing this correctly, in some cases, you can actually end up losing your customers to your competitors. So make sure you stick around to the end so you can avoid that from happening. Before I get into that, I'm just going to take 2 seconds to introduce myself. So my name is Ola. I've been working with digital marketing for the last 5 years. I started back in 2019 working for my mom's e-commerce business. Had to learn basically everything about digital marketing, everything from Facebook, Google ads, email marketing, content creation, you name it. But yeah, we had some amazing growth. We were able to scale from about 500K in annual revenue to about 1.8 million in just 2 years. And that was mainly because of Facebook and Instagram advertising. At the same time, during COVID, I started my side hustle. Back then I called it Business Boost, where I was basically just helping other e-commerce brands do the same thing that I had managed to do at my job. And over time, I had another few amazing success stories and started Strand Media, or rebranded to Strand Media. And yeah, over time, I've even had more success stories, now able to travel around the world while working with multiple different cool brands. At this point, I've worked with brands in US, the UK, Australia, Europe, Norway, Sweden, and even Japan. So I have a wide range of experience by now. And yeah, that's basically my story. So the main differences between Facebook and Google is that when people open up Instagram or Facebook, usually they're not actively looking to buy anything. They're just looking for entertainment, connecting with their friends, etc. When people go into Google, they usually have an idea of what they're looking for. And oftentimes they're actually looking for a solution to a specific problem, or they're looking for a specific product. And because of this, the approach you should have to advertising on these platforms should be vastly different. So as you can see on the pyramid that I'm showing you here, in the stages where the potential customer is unaware and aware but not ready, that's usually where Facebook ads is the advertising platform that is mostly used. So what I mean by that is when somebody is not aware of your brand or your product, and they're not aware of the problem that your product or service solves, then the way to advertise to them is usually through Facebook or Instagram. However, when they are looking for the solution and when they're looking to buy, that's usually when Google Ads is the best option. Now, there are some exceptions to this. Obviously, if you're running YouTube ads, you can target those to unaware people. And the display ads, you can also target those as top of funnel campaigns where you target people that are unaware. But I'm just going to talk about the general differences here. And oftentimes, this is actually what's going on. So on Facebook and Instagram, the people using the platform are unaware of the problem and the solution or product. But on Google, they're usually aware of the problem, but they're unaware of the right solution, right? So that's generally speaking, that's the differences between Google and Facebook. So let's look at an example of how this might look in a real world. So let's say you run a business called Sam Raincoats, just as an example. And you're obviously selling raincoats. On day 1, somebody sees your ad, okay, of the raincoat. On day 3, it starts raining. On day 5, they realize they have a problem, but they already have a raincoat. They're not really looking to buy a new one yet. They think it's probably going to stop raining soon, so I'll manage, okay? That's how they're thinking. On day 6, they change their mind. They realize they're super tired of this old raincoat. Then I realize they have a problem, and now they're looking for a solution, okay? So this phase is what I call demand creation, okay? You get into their head, they now know about you. And as the problem comes up, they now will think about your solution, and eventually, hopefully, they will be ready to buy. Now on day 7, that's when they're ready to go and buy. So they go into Google, they search for Sam Raincoats, And this is the stage that I call demand capture. So this is super important. So let's look at this. On the day 7, they're now ready to buy. You have now spent money on getting them interested in your product. You spent money on creating that demand. Now, if you don't capture this demand, essentially what you have done is wasting some of your money. So what's happening? They go into Google, they search for Sam's raincoats. Now, as you can see, what comes up here is a bunch of other products from other brands. So if it's hard for them to find your brand through Google, it's very likely they're just going to find an alternative that they like and buy that one instead. So you got them interested in getting a new raincoat. You basically created that demand, but you lost the customer because you didn't have the right setup on Google. Now I'm going to show you what kind of campaigns you can set up to avoid this from happening. But now I'm going to show you how you can actually check if your competitors are currently looking to steal some of your customers. So now the first method you can use if you're not already running Google Ads is just open a new tab. Make sure you open in incognito and search for your brand keywords. So search for your brand name or your brand name and your product and see what comes up. Now, if you have some competitors popping up, that might be because they're actually bidding on your branded keywords. Now, method number 2, if you're already running Google Ads, is you can go into your ads account and go into the search campaign where you have your branded keywords set up and click on the auction insights. Now here you can see impression share. So this is a percentage. It basically just means how much of the impressions they're actually getting. You can also have a look at the overlap rate. That's how often your ad and your competitor's ad are being shown when they search for this specific keyword. And these metrics are good for giving you some indication of what your competitors are doing, because obviously it might affect your results. So if you're not already running Google Ads, my recommendation and what we do for our clients when they are at the beginning stages is to set up minimum a search campaign where you bid on your own branded keywords. If we're working with an e-commerce brand, we also usually set up a shopping campaign because if they search for specific products, then your product might actually come immediately when they search for it, and that's going to give you probably better results than just having a search campaign. Now, if you're already running ads and you see that your competitors are actually probably bidding quite a lot against you on your own branded keywords, well then there's a few things you can do. Obviously you can increase the bid, but maybe it's already so high that you don't see a good reason for why you should increase it because it's not going to be profitable for you. Well, in that case, the other thing you can do is improve your ad. So if you can improve the ad in itself, include your brand name and your product name in the ads, well then the results might go up without you having to increase the bid. So that's another way you can work around this, but there's no easy way to solve it. You just have to try different things. But as I said, one thing you can do is increase the bid and maybe outcompete your competitor because, you don't want to lose customers to your competitors. So which platform should you use for your business? So that depends on what you're offering and where you're offering it and in what industry you're in. So let's say you're running a local gym in a specific area. In that case, the easiest way for you to get results is to just run a Google ad. In that geographical area that you are targeting your ads, there are probably not going to be that many other gyms that are bidding on the same keywords. So there's not going to be that high competition. So it might be super easy for you to get this Google ad to be profitable. And it's also going to be easier to set up a Google ad than a Facebook ad, because then you have to be a bit more creative. You need maybe some videos, some images. It's just going to be way easier for you just to start off with Google Ads. But if you run a general e-commerce store, let's say you sell dog treats in the US, then you're going to have way more competition. So in that case, if you start off with Google Ads, you're probably going to be competing against really big businesses that have big marketing budgets. And some of them might even be willing to take a loss on the first purchase. And in that case, it's not going to be profitable for you to start off with Google Ads. In that scenario, what I would do is start off with Facebook and Instagram ads. And that is because on that platform, you have way more room to actually compete on other things than just bidding. So you can actually be more creative with your ads. You have more freedom to communicate what your product and what your brand is and how it's different from other brands. And you have way more room for actually selling your product by being creative. so you can compromise your marketing budget with highly effective ads. Now, don't get me wrong, you can use both platforms, and I often recommend to use both platforms. You don't have to choose one of them. Right now, I'm just talking about which one is the easiest to start with, depending on what kind of business you're running. So let's say you take my advice and you start off with Facebook ads, and you do a really good job of competing by just being creative and creating amazing ads and doing everything right in terms of targeting and copywriting and all that stuff, and you start to see some good results. Well, over time, you can then start scaling. Once you start scaling and increasing the budget on Facebook, you're going to reach more people. So you're going to have more people seeing your brand and your products. Well, over time, more people are then obviously going to want to buy your product. So more people go into Google and start searching for your brand and your products. This is the scenario where you need to have a good setup on Google to capture that demand that you are creating with Facebook. And when you get to this stage, there's one big mistake that you have to look out for. So this actually happened with one of our clients because of some miscommunication. So we started working with an e-commerce clothing brand a few months ago, and we took over their Facebook and Instagram advertising. And at the same time, they were working with a Google Ads agency, and they were just running the Google Ads. And there was no communication between us and the Google Ads agency. So what ended up happening is we started scaling on Facebook and Instagram because we saw good results. And at the same time, the Google Ads agency were seeing better results on their end. So they said, let's scale here as well. And we didn't know that. So we just looked at the spend that we had on Facebook, and we kind of thought, yeah, they have some Google Ads agency, but they're probably not running a big budget. So we probably have still a pretty good ROAS. And what ended up happening in the end of the month, when we went through the reporting and we looked at actual numbers, we saw that the Google Ads spending had been way higher than what we anticipated. And we had a meeting with the client, and we ended up deciding that they were going to give us both Google Ads and Facebook ads. So they cut out the other agency, and we saw in their account that they had spent way too much. There was no need to spend this much on Google in that period, because all the demand creation was done on Facebook. So we did all the heavy lifting on Facebook, and there was no need to spend that much on Google because we already had the system in place to capture that demand on Google, and they didn't need to spend that much. So as you can see here, this is not the actual numbers, but this is an example of what can happen when you run both Facebook and Google Ads, because there's actually an overlap in the attribution. So what I mean is, the revenue that you see in Facebook ads when you go into the ads manager and the revenue that you see in Google ads are overlapping. And the reason why this happens is obviously because people see both your ads on Facebook and Google before they purchase. So you have to make sure you watch out for this problem, and make sure you look at your actual numbers, and make sure that if you think you're spending too much on Google or on Facebook, you scale down a bit and you see what's happening with your overall blended ROAS. Because that's really important to look after so you don't waste your budget. So to summarize what I've talked about in this video, my recommendation is to use either Google or Facebook, depending on what's best for your business. And if you end up using both, you can probably get some amazing results. That's what we've seen for our clients. In many cases, if we have a good setup of capturing the demand that we create on Facebook and Instagram, then we will have a really good ROAS. So if you like this video, make sure you leave it a like. Also, let me know in the comments below which platform you prefer for your business. And if you want to see future videos like this, I'm posting every week from now on. Make sure you hit that subscribe button. So thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.